whole thing there. So anyway, fire away. We're ready to listen to anyone that wants to ask any questions. Core, you're always, oh, he's not ready yet. Okay.
I got a question.
Julie, right here, Julie Nelson. So weird to be on the spot, but go ahead.
All right, so you're the owner or part owner of 5 very successful businesses, which I think shows a lot about you. But I think people are worried, how are you going to continue to handle those 5 businesses and take on this new role, which can be time consuming?
I mean, this is the biggest question I've heard around town, and it's a good one. You know, it makes sense. I totally get it. First off, if I was in the first 5 years of the front door diner, back door bar, I wouldn't be able to do this because I would have to be there. You know, right off the bat, we're setting up and it's just crazy. We got to get it all situated. But since then, I've just learned so much, and you know, that led into opening up Archie's, and then we followed with Eagle Bay House, and then Eagle Bay Village with partners and Space with partners. Through all that time, we've just had the most wonderful people to be a part of our team, longtime workers, people that live here. You know, we get 10 or 12 internationals per year for across the board. That's all we use for our employees. Everybody else lives here as a part of the community. They work part-time jobs. And these, you know, having literally, I'm not talking, you know, I'm not including high schoolers and stuff like that when I say 67 employees. We're talking year-round, part-time, full-time employees that work for us. And those are the people that run our businesses. Joel and Lauren right here, you know, they take care of Archie's for us. I get a call. Yeah, right. Thank you very much. Yeah. I get a call if, you know, I get a call if something breaks, and I call somebody that knows how to fix it. And sometimes the health inspector gives us a hard time, and I just say, okay, we'll take care of it. Pretty much it. And it's just, could not do this without them. That place would be closed without them. And Eagle Bay House, same thing. Those guys are open right now. That's why they're not down here. They got things under control. Over at the front door, back door, we got numerous people. Lexi takes care of the front for us. My kitchen guys who take care of the morning stuff. Believe it or not, Corey Potter Hayes, aka the Cowboy, runs that whole kitchen. I'm serious. In the prep, he really does. It's truly amazing. And we just have great people everywhere. It's just turned into managing them and making sure everybody's getting along and all that stuff. To go along with that, I thought about running for supervisor 2 years ago, and when I did, one of the things that held me back was, I don't do the budgets, the accounting, the bookkeeping. That's not my strong part. You know, I delegate stuff, and I just couldn't imagine doing it if I had to do the budget directing. And that's one thing that I'm gonna, I've got some people in mind if I were to win, some highly qualified professionals that would be doing that. So that wouldn't be on the plate of the supervisor. This is my 4th year on the board. I've done 3 budgets, and I think it's sometimes frustrating to see our secretary to the supervisor acting as pretty much, the one who's doing the most with the budget. And I don't think that is very fair. I think the secretary should be the secretary, and the supervisor should be the supervisor, and the budget director should be taking care of the budget. To tack that on and ask that of our current supervisor, Bonnie, I think is a lot. And I think it's been that way for 30 years because a certain supervisor wanted to make it a full-time position and to grab that money, which makes it like a $90,000 paying job. I don't think supervisors of towns, mayors of cities were meant to use that position as a career, to use that position as a way to make money. I think it was meant for people that are experienced, that have kind of their things together, and they're the ones that should be doing those things because they know what they're doing. To go along with that, if we're not looking for somebody who's busy, are we trying to find somebody who's just sitting on the couch waiting for a phone call to be supervisor of the town? It's just one of those things that really I respect people's concern. I've gone over this, but I couldn't be more ready for this, and it's got a lot to do with all these people that are a part of our program. So that's it with that one. Good question. Sorry to ramble. That's awesome. We just came here for bingo.
Could you just maybe share with everyone what you think sets you apart from the other candidates? Like what's different that would be good for the town of Webb?
I truly think it's management of people, and bringing the best out in people. I mean, I've seen it. It's spread to other people that I work with, that I guess work on our team. I've seen them, really bring out the best in other people. So it's like delegating too. You really see somebody being capable, and those are the folks you focus on. Those are the folks you give the duties that you need to get done. And it's like the same old story, right? If you're going to go build a house, you're going to call the contractor. You're going to get the excavator. You're going to call the plumber. You're going to get the electrician. I go back to this analogy because I think micromanaging and trying to do all that stuff on your own is really silly. You should really try to put people in the correct positions, in order to get the job done. I think getting people to come together, getting people to have a desire to work for the town, have a desire to stay here is another important part of that. And just general care for our employees. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I get some slack because I'm not into that town office so much as a town board member. I don't miss any meetings. I've missed 2, I think, in 4 years. And I show up and I'm there. And I'm a lot of the times the first phone call when we have a disgruntled employee and things of that nature. So it's like employees for me, number one, I've said this before, they're the ones who actually run our town. I think we just direct them. And I really believe that. So it's just the handling of that, but also again, like connections, resources, and finding the right people to dive into those grants, to find money, to do their job, forming teams, committees, and all that stuff. That's what I think I start with all that versus diving into, like I said before, I got plans to fix the sewer myself, and I'm gonna build houses everywhere so everybody got a place to live. We got to start with having a better plan and be a little more proactive in the beginning. I think that's my strong suit. Yeah. Another long answer, sorry. Yeah. Hmm? Yeah, I mean, first off, Bonnie, I give her so much credit for running into this. She really has. I give her credit all the time, and we came in at the same time. She went from no political experience to supervisor. I went from no political experience to town board member, and we've been there a lot. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. There's a lot of stuff that we disagree on. There's been a lot of policies and issues, conflicts, and things like that have come up that I've played a lot of defense on in the background that people haven't really seen, and I haven't really, appreciated how we've had certain mindsets towards the people at times. There's been a different tone that I think could be had here by all of us. I mean, to say that. There was 5 of us, in the beginning it was Barb Green, Kurt Gardner, myself, Mike Ross, and Bonnie. after that, it's been Ben, Hannah, your son, Kyle, the last 2 years, Mike Ross and Bonnie. We're a team, and there's a lot that's been brought to the table, a lot that we've disagreed on. We have worked together, but at the end of the day, I've seen some things and I've heard some things, and it goes back to just thinking that there's a certain type of person that I think should be doing this position, that I think can handle some things a certain way, and I think I'm just kind of built for it. It's nothing against what she's doing. I'm 40 now, and I feel like the ultimate way to give back to the community on top of what I'm already doing would be to continue this on and just move forward a little bit even more. There's been a bunch of stuff, again, that's more or less making sure things don't go the wrong way. To start off, right off the bat, my first meeting, I talked about the rec center and how it's been a neglected, empty building since it was built in 2001 when I was in high school. And Linda Wheel at that meeting, I said, I want to do some stuff at the rec center. And she's like, all right, well, go do some research. It's like, okay. And 6 months later, 8 months later, I think it was, we got a $133,000 grant, and we've got a building for our kids to play in, a place inside where people could be together versus all the outdoor recreation we offer. It's a special thing. It's a special place. There's been some other stuff like the short-term rental law. I was huge in putting that in, getting that in place so we could start working on trying to find a way to get more homes available for people. There's the snowmobile agreement where that was a huge mess. Went on for almost a year before it became public, really, about the background of how we were upset with the snowmobile agreement, and that kind of fell apart. I brought that back together. The department head hiring that we've all done, that's been all of us, has been a huge part of something that I feel great about. There was a healthcare stipend that I always go back to that really I struggled with. It popped up on the agenda, and for all of our town of Webb employees, if you didn't have health insurance, meaning your wife or your spouse was a teacher, you got a healthcare stipend. All of a sudden, it came on the agenda. If you were a town of Webb employee, you weren't going to get that stipend anymore, and that was a day of move. I'm not placing blame on anybody. I think that the powers that be were just trying to save some money for the town, and I got that taken off the table. There's been a lot of stuff like that. The last 2 years have been tough. I will definitely say the last 2 years have been really difficult. I've been on the outside a little bit, and that's okay. We've been working on a lot of, the grants and stuff. It's like the WIA grants and whatnot that we worked on. It was Barb Green we go back to, where there was a huge grant that we got that they were missing out. That really helped with our sewer grants that we had, but it's mostly just being present and just being a part of everything that we had there, and just being real with all that pops up, that I'm most proud of,
My name's Denny. I'm from a surrounding town. I don't vote here, so I hope that's okay if I ask.
Welcome. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to first start by personally thanking you for everything you've done to keep relationships going outside of the town. It's actually obviously very important. We're a large community here that has to work together. We share a lot of things, schools, families, and kids, so I really appreciate everything you've done. I guess the question is back to that. How do you see those relationships continuing, and how can you both continue and add on to some of that communications and keeping those things together?
We've had a couple meetings between the town of Inlet, town of Webb. It was something like when I first got on board, I was like, woohoo, this is cool. I'm going to get people to start working together and talk. And that's how that originally started. There was a meeting just for town of Webb and town of Inlet to talk, where town of Inlet came down. And that meeting led to the snowmobile agreement massacre. So I'm like, well, this just went completely the wrong direction. So it was counterproductive. It was frustrating. I still think that with the right atmosphere. I mean, right setting, I guess I should say, the right setting for everybody. There's a different way to do it. Every time we've met, it's been 5 town board members, and then like Town of Inlet in the other side. We had never gone to Town of Inlet. They've always come down to our place. I feel like we kind of put ourselves on a different pedestal than maybe some neighboring communities, other places in the county, because we have the sales tax up here and all that. I just don't think that's a very good way to act. And that alone will make it so we can work better with our neighbors, you know, and the communities. Because I mean, we're so small. That's the only way we can really be. One of the biggest things that I really want to work on is getting people, younger families, to live here. There's some young people here, which is awesome. We got a lot of people that are doing some great things around here, and hopefully these school numbers can climb back up. I think in order to do that, you know, we go. Forestport is down the road, Inlet's up the road. They're in our school district, and in order for us to all together as a community, you know, school and everyone involved, we've got to work together with our neighbors and strengthen that even more than it is right now. It definitely needs some work. I will say that. So hopefully we can continue to work on that.
I'll go again.
Bingo.
Yep. No. I'm also an Inlet resident, as I'm sure some of you know, and I just want to say real briefly that the decisions of the town board and the supervisor of Town of Webb absolutely affects other towns, even if we're in separate communities. So anyone who thinks that, unfortunately, is being naive, because we've been affected personally by a few decisions that have been made in the last few years. But so I'm looking forward to better relations, and I appreciate that you want to build that bridge. I do have a question about some of the other towns that are still in the town of Webb. And I know you plan on visiting with Eagle Bay and Big Moose, and I obviously can't speak for all of them, but I can confidently speak for some of them that they feel very left out of Town of Webb. And so I was wondering, what is your plan to address that?
I mean, I always keep Big Moose, you know, Eagle Bay, obviously. I'm over there. I'm actually going up to Stillwater tomorrow to see what it's like to go across that barge and visit the town. I've been there on a snowmobile before, but that was only a couple of times. So I think making things easier, having people feel more included, like literally just reaching out, just a phone call. Hey, we're having a meeting. We really like you to be there. We know you have some issues going on. We want to hear them, and just kind of create a forum, and then just get a team of people to address them and just see what you can do about it. There's just a lot of defense and deflection currently, and instead of like just trying to have an open mind and hearing people out, I plan on doing to make those guys feel more welcome up there, because you know, I used to be this way. I used to think Old Forge. And it really is the town of Webb, and I've started speaking that way since I got on the board. Becoming a board member changed that. So we want to keep focus on everybody in general here, not just down here. What's up, Berkey? Mm-hmm. I did, actually. Yeah, I did. I'm not lying. I really did. Yeah, I wrote one on behalf of Space and the back door. What's that? I wrote a letter. Yeah. Yeah. No, I did. Yeah. So, I mean, I could go. Oh, letter of support. It was on July 21st. Yeah, I'm trying to. I think it was through my Outlook mail. Cy, what's up, Kaylin? I don't know if it was through my town email or my personal one.
Gonna get a fine.
But I did write a letter, so I will get those 2 copies to you. This is my phone right now. I can't get it. It was. Yeah. So it's a simple conference down at New York City that Paige is referring to. It's the New York State Association of Towns. It happens in the heart of basketball season when I'm coaching. I've done some research on it. I've got a very good friend who was the mayor of Little Falls for the last 8 years. His term ended a couple of years ago. He goes to that. He's kind of clued me in. It's something that like a supervisor, a board member or two goes to. They go down, they usually like report back, and they bring what they learned back to the table. Interestingly enough, the Monday meeting that I just missed was one of the first meetings I've missed in my 4 years, or one of the few I've missed in my 4 years, was a outing with NIAT, and I met the executive director Chris Ketzel, and we met with other town board members, Tom Augustino from he was from the town of Union, from Union Endicott, and we chatted, and it was great networking. There was a lot of consulting firms there. There was a lot of stuff that was going on. So I've definitely got a lot to learn. But to judge one for missing one conference a year when there's so many other ways to learn, I think is a tough one. And a lot of the stuff that I've actually talked with Lori DeMasi Mather. She's the lawyer from down there of the Association of Towns. We've contacted one another through email. I've been on the phone with her, and actually at this conference we were just at, my friend Mark pointed her out, and I went over and introduced myself and talked to her. So I do have some sort of relationship with them, but there is a lot more to learn by going to those, and I plan to go in February. Lord B. I gotta find the page. I truly have those emails. I will get those to you. I will email those to you. Yeah.
It's real nice, Tom. Good job. So
Yeah,
it's a 1 year position, correct?
What's that?
It's a 1 year.
1 year.
And then is
Actually, I got an email from the Association of Towns today confirming that it did pass and that is all done. It is a 1 year term officially as of today.
And then
So.
will you run again after that?
Absolutely.
Or is this just putting your toe in the water
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
feel it out? Or
No,
okay. This is a commitment that you long term.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've gotten a lot of things situated in my life, a lot of things in proper places to make sure I can do this. It was a 2 year term this whole time I knew about it, and actually I was considering running 2 years ago, and I just was like, it's not time, I'm not ready yet. And since then it's been in my head, and here we are. So I do feel very much committed. Man, it's been a tough one for me to listen to at times too about commitment and stuff like that. If I sign up to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be a man of my word, and I'm going to stick to it. And so getting my commitment question is tough, especially when you look around all the stuff we've been doing around here. So,
Right. Well, kudos.
thank you very much.
Baby's got a question for you.
Baby.
Tom,
Callahan, quiet down.
Could you just clarify that 1 year? Is that 1 year term just to get it unsynchronized? Or
Ye-
is it,
Yes.
and then it'll be 2 years thereafter?
Yeah, so the council members that win this year, there's 4 of them running for 2 spots. They'll be 3 years. Yep. Yep. It's just the supervisor one. Then they're all going to be synchronized together. Yeah. It's pretty wild to think about. It's tough. Anybody doing this stuff, again, I've said that at Meet the Candidates. This is it's fun at times. It's great, but it does do some damage to you. I've been strong enough to keep my head together, especially after these last couple of years. So to think that people have to go through this campaigning and doing this thing again, not even a year from now, like 9 months from now, I wish everybody well that will be there. Hopefully I will be. See ya, T. Car?
I was just kind of curious as to what steps you would make to kind of get more health services here in town for the residents here of town of Webb.
So that's a great question. What's going on over there right now with the dentist's office and MDHS being in there? That was really scary for a moment there when we didn't have we had some issues over there and we had to shut down. I could feel the nerves from so many people that counted on that place on a daily basis. Number one is to make sure that relationship stays, and we're here, to work with them, see what they need, see what's going on. It is a very old building, core, so there's a lot that we have to deal with over there. I would hope that at some point those guys over there at MVHS will we can. It kind of got a little ugly there for a minute, and I'd like to really make sure we rebuild that relationship with them. And if they want to talk about some stuff and put some stuff on the table, then we put our team together and we say this is what works for us and this is what doesn't, and we kind of see what we can do, because it is a small building. It is our property with them leasing from us. How much can you do for someone that's leasing from you? It's something I've dealt with before.
I think it's Jason's dog.
Fetchy.
Who's the dog?
Already 5:44.
Would we like to play more bingo?
One round? One round?
More great prizes?
Here, we got a question here. You don't have to stay for bingo, but we can do questions after one more round of bingo too. I got one more cool prize though.
Well, I'm not sure how to ask this, but
Sure.
and I've been just a resident here for 5 years, but summer resident since 1963. And I look at the town, and again, this is more anecdotal, so you hear from people saying, well, I live on such and such a street, and most of the houses are dark, and I get how people, wanting the Airbnb thing, but, and I've read stuff on Vail and Lake Placid and things. What's your vision for the town? Is a vision to try to somehow pull back to more long-term rentals or affordability of homes right in the village here? And I don't know that if Inlet has this exact same kind of problem. I don't think Forthport does, but it seems like it's more of an old forge kind of issue. So sorry to narrow this down to.
That's fine.
Side of town.
No.
But I'm just curious, when we had the proposal out on North Street, but that's nice that you could have had some, let's say you even had 10 places out there, but I guess I always look at a place like here, and personally, if I was 50 years younger, I'd love to live right in the village itself, right here, have the kids walk to school, yada yada. But what's your vision for these issues that are coming up?
Inlet's got a really strong short-term rental policy, right? That helps you guys out a little bit with the the houses they have. Back here, again, short-term rental permit thing was like one of the biggest things I pushed for. I kind of wish Barb was here, because I really hammered through that. Everybody was butting heads on me with the permit law that we put in. That is helping. That is showing people that they can rent their properties different ways. The other thing is the zoning review that I keep bugging everybody out about every meeting. as it's gotten so frustrating that it's not gone through yet, is the last part I put in. It was something that I was working on with some other folks outside the community, or inside the community, and then with our board. Interesting enough, it was just Bonnie and I that did the review. We were the only ones there. And that cap in our RV zones, residential village, it makes for a cap inside of there of how many Airbnbs there can be, short-term rentals there can be. I think that will totally help. I think the other housing in general, like maybe there is some talks about, I don't necessarily think the big housing projects of 52 units, it's like the same old thing. People want to own a home, so like land plot programs I've heard a lot about. I really want to look a lot more into that. But I think it really starts with focusing on these neighborhoods back here. I mean, I remember riding my bike through all these neighborhoods as a kid, as a camp kid. And those are the neighborhoods that I really miss right now, because you are correct. It's dark, and it's leading to what we have over here. We got 11 kids in our junior class right now, so it's tough. We definitely got to get our neighborhoods back. I do think some of the stuff we put in place is slightly working right now. So. You're fine. That's why we're here. So this is a really unfortunate situation for a lot of us. Restaurant owners, businesses, anyone with more than 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 employees. You have to buy something up here. So you just strip the home away that somebody else maybe could have bought. Brian Murphy in the back here, they're down the street at Tony Harper's, Dakers, myself. Waltz has housing. Like, if you don't provide housing for your employees, then you don't have a place for people to work. So I do that. A lot of other people do that. I don't necessarily think that it's the way to do things. We shouldn't have to do that, but we do that because we want to keep this place going. If we don't get with the housing issue and we continue to do this, what if one day we just decide I've had enough of this? I signed up to be a restaurant owner. I didn't sign up to be a landlord, and we close our businesses. Now everybody that's sitting pretty on the lake or up in the mountains doing their thing has no place to go. It's very frustrating. So there's a lot of people that are doing their part. To talk about this building in general, we explored every single option we could. We had a grant writer. We hired a grant writer. We went everywhere. It was a long process. During that time, we realized that the front of this store was not a part of our 16 apartment plan. So we opened up a store and basically gave people that couldn't open their own business in this day and age an opportunity to do so. And then following that, while we're still waiting for grants and what to do with the building, we built the stage that in the future could maybe be multi-purpose and be a deck for our second and third stories where the majority of our apartments would be. So our workforce housing is still in the mix, and those second and third stories have not been touched yet. That's where we're going next. So we do plan to still address that problem and try and help out, like we talked about with the planning board. some bingo? Okay. You gotta get one more piece of paper here, though.